Hello everyone and welcome to Creepy Internet Nostalgia. Now that I'm done with the McDonald's building video, I'm hard at work on some new video essays, and I thought it might be fun to kind of take a little trip down memory lane and look at some early 2000s spooky internet nostalgia. So the first thing we're going to take a look at is unexplainedmysteries.com. This was my source for creepy images. Wow, that is such a trip even looking at this layout now. I used to come on this site around like 2004 and 5, so I was like 9 and 10 years old. Probably my first real like creepy site, or one of them anyway. And man, it is such a trip looking at this. Because look, please seek identity of masked Slender Man. Dated today, April 7th, 2021. It is so weird because this layout hasn't changed at all. It is identical to when I was on here in 2004. But it's reporting new stuff. That is wild. But anyway, I used to spend all my time in the image gallery, particularly under ghosts and hauntings. And you can see this stuff hasn't been updated in forever. The newest stuff is from 2016. And I think there's actually like a lot less than there was before. I think they might have purged a bunch of images at some point. I hope they didn't start with the older images. I hope the old classic ones are here. Yeah, only 4 pages. But the oldest ones are here, January 28th, 2004. Alright, so let's take a look at this. Yeah, you remember this image? It's so cool to see all these classic images here. Yeah, this was like 90% of early 2000s ghost pictures, was somebody standing in the foreground, and a little bit of spooky over here that someone would then conveniently give you a red circle to see, which, not to spoil anything, but that's kind of the topic of something I want to show later in this video, but no spoilers for right now. And the other thing that was always fun about these was reading the comments, because, you'd have all these internet experts coming in to talk about how we could be misunderstanding it, how it could be faked, and even saying it looks shopped, because you can always tell from some of the pixels and from seeing quite a few shops in my time. It's the gravestone's shadow behind it, making the gravestone look like a guy wearing a hat. Let's see if that stands up to scrutiny. I don't see how you can determine that from this image. I can see like 4 pixels making up that entire ghost. I am creeped out by this. And I would used to get creeped out by it too. Because, first of all, you'll notice in these comments later on that, there was kind of more of a suspension of disbelief going on back then. I think people kind of got a lot more cynical and more skeptical, which is probably a good thing overall, but, it makes these things so much less fun. That people aren't willing to suspend disbelief. I feel like as long as it's just for entertainment, just go with it. Just let legends live. I forgot why I came back here. Hang on. What was the comment? I am creeped out by this. Oh, yeah. So, I would be creeped out by this, and it was because of that lack of detail. It was because of that ambiguity. That, you're just catching this glimpse. The blurry Bigfoot pictures are the creepiest thing ever. Even though they're dumb, even though they're exactly why they're not evidence. It's that ambiguity that makes it so creepy to me. And as a 9-year-old, that was even amplified because I had, this suspension of disbelief, that I was more willing to believe this stuff back then. And also, I used to not have to zoom in to 470% to see this. I think my monitor at the time must have been 640 by 480. But anyway, let's take a look at some other ones. Yep, there's The Brown Lady of Raynham Hall. Another classic. The most famous ghost photograph of all, The Brown Lady of Raynham Hall, England. It was taken by 2 photographers from Country Life magazine who were filming the hall at the time and observed the ghost floating down the staircase. It looks like a woman with long hair. Very good photograph. Very, very, very convinced on this one. It is light. I don't know what to say this time. Maybe ghosts do walk among us. Yeah. See, I mean, you laugh, but that's what I love about the old internet, is people were so much more into this stuff and so much more willing to believe that it just makes the whole experience of looking these things up so much more fun. As to whether or not I believe in this stuff, I mean, that's kind of a complicated answer, and I could make a whole video on that. Maybe I will. It boils down to short answer no, long answer yes, and a whole lot of explanation in between. This one is just labeled Fake Ghost Girl. I remember this. In fact, this image has showed up in a whole lot of other things as well. She's been photoshopped into all kinds of stuff. Fake, but spooky nevertheless. Yeah, that's kind of my a proven fake on many sites. Nothing gets by you. The girl in the fire. Now, see, this is another interesting thing about old internet images. That is so creepy. And it's how ambiguous the stories behind images were. Now, the uploader says, a picture taken of the burning Wem Town Hall in Shropshire in 1995. After development, the image shows the ghostly image of a girl standing in the fire escape. And we come down to this comment and it says, I have to say this one creeps me out because of the history behind it. The building was burned down one time before this, when a little girl was playing with matches and threw one on the roof, and burnt the place and died in the fire. The building was reconstructed and then burned down again just a few years later. When a news reporter snapped the photo because he was going to do a story on the fire, the little girl appeared in the doorway when the photo was developed. I think it's real. I've also heard... I've seen this image posted with the story that it was taken just after the Chicago fire. Which one of these is real? I have no idea. I could probably do a reverse image search, but why ruin it, right? These are two other classics, the ghost dog at the Tingewick Tea Party and the Newby Church Ghost. Yeah, a lot of these are probably like double exposures, where you expose onto the same film cell twice, but this one always creeped me out because it looks like, if you really zoom in and look at it, I guess this is supposed to be like a face under a hood, and then like the hands are clasped in front like in prayer. But to me, this always looked like you see the two eyes there. This to me looks like a beak, like it's some kind of like plague mask or whatever, but flat and with a really long nose, and this image always really unnerved me. And on the subject of double exposures, it's so interesting to me how, in retrospect it's so obvious how fake some of these are, or how a lot of them are just down to misunderstanding. Just being so creeped out. This image was so unnerving to me. It's the worst quality image ever. You can't see anything, except you just make out these faces in the blur. And then there's these stories to go with it. When 2 members of the SS Watertown died in a tragic accident in 1924, the other men reported seeing their ghostly faces in the water off the side of the ship for some time. This image allegedly captured the faces. You're 9 years old, you read that story, and then you come and see this. That you can clearly see its faces, but you just can't make out the details, so it's only the vague shapes of faces. Alright, well, let's get out of here and start looking at some other ones. So, orbs. Remember when these used to be so common? I gotta be honest, these never really interested me, because even I knew at the time that it's just light from the flash catching off of dust or bugs in the air. I don't know why these were so popular. These just never interested me. But anyway, let's go to faces and forms. And I want to go all the way back. I want to see... Oh, it goes back even farther. Oh, wow, it goes back really far. How far back can we go? Some of these images are newer, from, like, after 2010. So these will be well after my time. I want to go back and see the old stuff. Here's the one I remember. See the little girl in the back? She wasn't there when the picture was taken. Without that story, this is a nothing image. It's literally just a little girl standing in the back. Pair that little story, and suddenly it's a creepy image. This image does one of those things that I used to think about all the time, and it always really annoyed me. Like, this is something that killed even 9-year-old me's suspension of disbelief. Is when the framing of the picture doesn't make any sense, unless it's to take a picture of a ghost that they claim they couldn't see at the time. We did not see this at the time is the story that comes with every ghost picture, and always they'll be pointing mostly at the ghost while the supposed subject is just like in the corner or something. Always annoyed me. Here's another one of those fakes. I love how he's like chroma keyed in and you can still kind of see the green. I saw this weird green smoke coming through the door near the ice cream cart. Fortunately, I had my camera with me and had time to take this photo. When I saw the photo, the smoke appeared in ghostly form.
Yep, that stands up to scrutiny.
Okay, this one literally gave me nightmares, and I still find this one really creepy to this day. Like, I'm not even joking. and that's the tree man. There's no story to this or anything. It is just so creepy. That I don't even know what else to say about it. That just really something about this image when you just feel your spine seize up when you see it, and I still have that reaction. There's just something about it that I can't even articulate. We're only a few pages in, and we're already starting to get into pictures from around 2007, which is a little after my time on this site. So I do think at some point, yeah, they must have deleted a lot of stuff, or it was lost in like rollbacks or something. It's so disappointing. Let's see what's going on in cryptozoology then. This is what I was looking for, the skunk ape. Because look at that, it's gigantic. It's just like a wall of hair. And those glowing eyes, just imagine that. How it's mostly in shadow because the flash is catching on the leaves in front of it. Oh, here's the wider one. It looks like it's like hunched over at the edge of the bushes. Yeah, this section really has been gutted. It's a shame to see that a lot of the images aren't here anymore. There used to be a lot more. I'm disappointed to see so many of the old classics gone, but maybe we'll find some of them in a video that I saw back in the day. And I'm curious to know how many of you will remember this video. I'm willing to bet a lot of you will. There's those red circles. This one. This is the moment that scared the absolute crap out of me. That sent me through the roof as a kid.
Can you close that door for us? It's me.
Roger.
Yeah.
Watch.
The same frequency ghosts operate on. That's really funny. And this was the standard of evidence back then. I'm going to talk about this a little more in a little bit, but I find it really... We really lost something in the age of centralized internet. Here we go. And that was the jump scare, I guess. There wasn't even a sound to accompany it. And here we go. Always trust something that asks you to lean into the screen. A little bit of a delay on that screamer there. Maybe bring that sound a little farther back on the timeline. But yeah, that was that. And, this is pre-YouTube. I don't even remember where I would have watched this, but there's just so much... I mentioned this a little bit before. There's just so much that I feel like we've lost in the centralized internet age. So if you want to watch a video, you're going to go watch it on YouTube, right? Or if you're some kind of psychopath, you watch it on Dailymotion. And if something gets popular, you ask somebody, hey, did you see this? And the answer is, yes, I saw it on YouTube. Back then, things were a lot less centralized. When you went on a site, a lot of the time you'd kind of feel like you were the only person on Earth that knew about it, because you were probably the only person within the circle of people that you knew about that site. There was just kind of random, scattered sites. And it all felt a lot more... Nowadays, if something important happens, everybody's going to know about it, and they're all going to hear about it from the same place. So yes, I do think part of being able to get absorbed in this stuff is being a kid and having, less experience with, what is obviously real and what is obviously fake. But I think people were willing to suspend their disbelief a lot more in general back then. There was a lot less cynicism when it came to this stuff. There was a lot less skepticism. And, you could argue that, increased skepticism is a good thing, and in a lot of ways it is. But it does make this kind of thing, in particular, a lot less fun. These days, I feel like there's a lot less, willing suspension of disbelief. Like, if you go on the subreddit r/creepy, all the content is fine, but then you go into the comments and it's just chains of people talking about how it's not scary and it's fake and whatever. And it's just, I don't understand why they care if it's not real. I mean, that's the thing. I think it comes from a desire to, not be fooled, and you want to show everyone that I wasn't fooled by this. And they're kind of missing the point that, okay, but this is supposed to be fun, just enjoy it, or if you don't like it, just move on. Because when the whole comment section devolves into that, it just ruins it for everyone. And, I do think when the comment sections go that way, that it does make it harder for even the people who did come here to enjoy it to suspend their disbelief. And it kind of just... It does change the mood when everyone's doing that, and it just kind of ruins it for everyone. I think back then people were a lot more willing to just, have fun with it for what it is. And even when people were trying to prove something fake, it would be more from the perspective of really digging in and analyzing different aspects of the image and, trading ideas on what could be the case. And it was a lot more lighthearted. It was a lot less, people coming in and authoritatively stating, this is fake and you're dumb if you were having fun with it. It was a lot less of that and a lot more fun. Even the skeptics were having fun with it in their own way, and it didn't take away from it the way it does now. So anyway, we've had some fun, looked at some pictures, read some comments, watched a video. But do you remember Flash games? Yeah, these things used to dominate the internet, didn't they? I believe Flash has officially been killed as of last year, so now you can't play them in browser anymore. But I believe there has been a project to download and archive as many Flash games as possible so that you can still download and play them. But I don't know anything about that, I'll have to look into it. I do have a bunch saved on my own hard drive that I downloaded a while back. And I'll be honest, as a kid, I did not have the heart to play these things at all. These are games that I would not have been able to play at the time because I was just so terrified of jump scares. I didn't play this until 07 when I was 12 or 13. But it's still early 2000s nostalgia for somebody, so I'll go ahead and pop that in. Turn the lights down and the sound up. Well, I have the lights down at least. Leffler Web Design. I think this guy made a bunch of scary Flash games. I don't know why I wasn't expecting that. Oh yeah, back in the early 2000s, people were a lot more willy-nilly with the screamers as well. You wake up in the woods with a lump on your head. You can't remember how you got there. All you can recall are the dreams. It's late, cold, and you're unsure of where you are exactly. Fighting through the headache, you regain your focus. You see a house in a clearing. and decide to shelter there. Anything is better than freezing to death in the woods. Oh, I guess it's like a point-and-click adventure type of thing. And I noticed that when I hover over the doorway, I can highlight it. Now, this is like the old style of Flash game where it would be made from real images, but they were so low res, and they would just kind of be spliced together so you can see the animated background with presumably this real picture of an abandoned house in the woods. But as you can see, the background hasn't been adequately removed, and it's probably a very low-resolution image to begin with. This is that 2000s Flash game nostalgia that I remember. I have to say, these sound effects are really... Oh, those ambient noises, too. A hallway shrouded in shadows. These stairs lead up to a second level. Okay, so those are the two ways I can go. Doesn't look like I can go back. Oh, I can't enter the door even though there's no text. Cellar entrance is what it says. The handle turns, but the door refuses to budge. What is that? It's almost like someone is holding it shut. Sorry, I'm having to, I really need a new setup. I'm having to, lean up so I can see around my mic. The hallway leads off into darkness. An old fan. It doesn't look like it's worked in a long time. A dusty chandelier hangs from the ceiling. A grandfather clock sits ticking away in the corner. Is this going to be some kind of puzzle? Door seems to be locked. There seems to be blood dripping from the microwave, so I suppose I'm supposed to check that. The microwave. And there seems to be blood dripping out of it. Yep. A severed head. It appears to be a fresh kill. Wherever the killer is, he'll probably be back soon, and I don't want to be here when he returns. And there's something carved in his head. It looks like a symbol has been smeared on the forehead. Alright, so how do we get out of here? A tattered diary sits on the table. May 24th, 1997. An unusually eventful day today. I stumbled across an unusual find whilst out hunting for deer in the remote wilderness. Stalking a wild steed into a clearing, you can only imagine my surprise to find an old house. Seemingly abandoned, but still standing strong. An interesting find. One that certainly has me curious. Alright, I read a bunch of this, but it's kind of really long, and it kind of slows down the video too much, so I'll just, I guess I'll just give you each page, and you can pause on each one if you want to read it. There's nothing of interest here. Bloodstains on these chairs. So that's the thing about these old point-and-click games, is you never really know what you can and can't do. Blood on the floorboards. So that's the thing about these old adventure games, is that you're never really sure what you can and can't do until you just kind of stumble onto what you're looking for. Blood on the floorboards. And it looks like something's been dragged through here. A trail of blood leads under this door. A knife sits on this shelf. A blood-stained knife. You should probably arm yourself with a slightly larger weapon. Okay, but if I don't have any weapon, then surely that's better than nothing, right? Okay, I don't think there's going to be anything I can do here. Is this door open now? No? Okay, I guess the only thing I can do now, then... Okay, so that was what led to the cellar. A door which remains locked. I thought I heard you must remember. Okay, I can't think of anything else to do except go upstairs. The ambiance here is just fantastic. I mean, I'm looking at still images, and it still has a really creepy atmosphere. Also, I can clearly see that this game was not meant to be played in widescreen. Moonlight streams through this window. That door just moved. The bedspread is soaked in someone's blood. There's no breeze in here, so why is this roof lamp swinging? And there's blood on the ceiling. How did so much blood get on the roof? The painting on the wall is of a familiar landscape. And there's a safe. Wow, I didn't see that coming. The gramophone is unplugged, but it's still rotating. How is this possible? Okay, the only thing left, I think, is going to be that door in the back. A bathtub full of blood. Okay, one of one things is about to happen. Ooh, I got a key, though. I bet that's going to lead to the cellar, right? Or no, that door in the hallway. The window is boarded up. Maybe someone who valued their privacy? And can we look in the toilet? No. Okay, so the one of one thing that's going to happen didn't happen just now, but it's surely going to happen in the near future. Let's get out of here. I really hope you can't die in this and you have to go back to the beginning. That's also something that sometimes used to happen in these old games. Okay, I've had about enough of you. I use the key to open the door. And there's a severed arm. A severed arm? This house is turning out to be a graveyard. Why don't I just leave? Okay, I can't do anything with that. A shelf filled with miscellaneous books on the occult. There's something very unnerving about this sculpture. The word remember is smeared in blood on the mirror. Well, I can't really read that at all. Well, what do I get from here? Bookshelves filled with volumes of books? Okay, presumably I'm supposed to do something with this information, but what? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Oh wait, something has been written in blood. Okay. So now we're going to do a really early 2000s thing. We're going to look up a Flash game walkthrough. Oh, there we go. F. A strange symbol is smeared in blood on the safe wall. It appears to be a human heart, and a leather-bound book titled Ex Mortis. Huh. Yeah, the guide I looked at is not very well written. It told me the combination to the safe without actually telling me how to arrive at that number. Oh, it it appears to be blinking at me. That's not that scary. Oh, there's another book here. Yeah, as usual, you can pause on that if you want to read it. Oh, we can go left. Don't like that noise. Gwen Raham? Or just another hallucination? I wouldn't call any of what you've experienced thus far hallucinations. Oh, it's about to go down. Yep. Just give me the jump scare.
Wake up.
Oh. Okay. The blood of Gwen Raham stains the sheets. It was over 100 years ago that she was murdered. How can the blood still be wet? Anything else? So according to the guide, this door should now be open. Okay, but the guide said I could go in now. It said you must first remember, but I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. Anyway, that's all the time I have for right now, but yeah, that's been a little taste of some early 2000s internet nostalgia. And it really has been a trip going back and, kind of seeing what the internet creepy landscape used to look like. Which has me kind of curious, what are some creepy things on the internet that are nostalgic to you? I know if you were maybe born a little later, it's probably stuff like Salad Fingers and David Firth animations, or I'm sure there's a lot of other stuff from even this time period that I can't remember right now, so let me know in the comments, and, I'm looking forward to taking a look at some of that stuff. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.